Hi, today I want to talk to you about employee engagement through regular and clear communication. In a previous video, I talked about the significance and the deep value that you'll derive from having one-on-one check-ins with your employees. So that goes along with our regular communication. But I also want to talk to you about just setting clear expectations, making sure your employees know what's expected of them, and laying that out clearly. And that, of course, requires communication. I can't tell you how many times people, employees that I have worked with, are just unclear in terms of what the expectations are. So we can't expect somebody to really thrive and to meet and exceed our expectations unless we share what those expectations are. So make sure you are sharing what those are, you are clear on those expectations, and that you're checking in regularly to make sure your employee and your team members are still on target for meeting those expectations. I know it sounds so basic, but it's just a friendly reminder because it's something that I think we could use a little bit more of in today's workplace, especially with COVID and everything we have going on. I think that employees are really struggling to know how to stay focused and how to continue to meet and exceed expectations and to thrive professionally. So now more than ever, the regular and clear communication is important. The last thing is probably the most major thing about communication, and that is the communication do's and don'ts. So do you know, and this is your question, your action item, do you know your employees' communication do's and don'ts, meaning how to communicate and connect with them, and then how not to? So are they a detail person and they're gonna have a lot of questions because they need all the details? Or are they a big picture person and just require a few brief things and then you can let them go on their own? So make sure that you're knowing what their communication do's and don'ts are. A really fun activity that I suggest as I work with different leaders in organizations is that they identify what their communication do's and don'ts are, and then they also guess what their employees' do's and don'ts are. They identify some people on their team and make a guess. Then they go back and they meet with those team members and see how accurate they are. It opens up that door for discussion. The other thing you can do is do it in a staff meeting. And so have everybody on an index card write their communication do's and don'ts and put it in a basket, and then just take that basket around and have them pull it out. I realize that this is in person, but we can modify this to doing it virtually as well too by simply popping some of them up on a screen too and having you guess this person's communication do's and don'ts. And so it's really fun to do it that way if you have that type of openness with your team, because this way you get to have fun knowing that, oh yeah, Kelly's definitely an in-person person and she likes to have that quick little check-in with how was your weekend before you dive right into business. And so knowing how to and how not to communicate with employees is really critical. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an assignment and an action item to take with you. And as always, please comment below with your suggestions in terms of how you regularly and clearly communicate with your employees to keep them engaged. Thank you and have a great day.